What's going on, everybody? This is Phil from Small Town Titans, and you are listening to Chris on the Furlough Podcast.
Oh, you gonna take me home tonight? Oh, down beside that red firelight. Oh, you gonna let it all hang out? Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
This is the Furlough Podcast, brought to you by All American Ford in Oneonta, Alabama. Stop by and see John Makovica and his team today.
Ooh, that last commercial almost blew my brains out. I don't know if it was loud on your end or not. All right, everybody.
No.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Furlough Podcast. We have on the show today Constance Payne. I hope I said that right. Is that your stage name?
No, it's not. That's my real name. Everybody asks me that, and even like bouncer friends of mine, they're like, people come up and they card me to ask, if that's your real last name or not. But that's why me and my husband have different last names, because I kind of didn't want to lose the Constance Payne for theatrical purposes.
Well, right. Well,
but we are married.
Yeah, you made your own brand. You became your own brand with that name, though, right?
Oh yeah, I'm a registered trademark for being an actress, and a bunch of other stuff on the list, but
Sure.
mainly that.
And that's why I was curious on the Constance Payne. I thought, well, I wonder if that's just a stage name, because it sounds like a cool stage name. It's like I've read some of your stuff, and you talk about the highs and lows of life, and I thought maybe that was something that drove you, and it just sounded like a cool stage name to me. So I thought it was pretty unique.
Yeah, Constance is like an old school name too, and it's really funny because my brother's name is Daniel and my sister's name is Amanda, the two most basic names in America, and then I'm Constance. Like I don't know how that happened.
Were you the first or the last?
The last.
Oh, so there might have been a little something to that then. They were like, we're going to go a little different. We did the basics already. So, for people that don't know you, Constance, you're an actress. You've done fighting. You've done pretty much, sounds like a lot of different stuff, all the way from radio and a little bit of TV. Am I saying, is that right?
Yeah, that's about right. I've done some construction work and stuff too. Like I make whatever I need, like prop design. I've got a long list of things that I do, but everything I pretty much feel is pretty much based around art. So.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So how'd you get you got into radio and stuff like that first, right? As far as
yeah, I got into radio in my early 20s. Yeah. I had crushed my hand. I got hit by a car when I was 19. I was walking across the street and this car runs a red light going about 40 miles an hour, because you don't run them going slow, do you?
Right.
And it knocked the shit out of me. I crushed my hand. My hand pretty much saved my brain from being splattered all over the pavement, because I landed on it like that. And yeah, it was pretty crazy. They didn't stop. They just left me to die in a ditch. And this homeless, yeah, it was awful. It was awful. Like I couldn't talk right for 6 months. I had a lot of anger problems for a few years after that a lot of people who don't have major head injuries or like significant trauma like that just don't understand what it's like to go through that. So it was a long recovery. Even when my body was better, it was like my mind, it took a minute to catch up.
Did you get more artistic after that? Did you feel like were you more interested in acting and everything after that event, or was that something that's always got you going?
No, I actually never thought I was going to be an actor. I never really thought that was going to be a thing. Yeah. I did a lot of community service after that, wanting to help people, because nobody ever helped me.
Right.
So, I did a lot of that for a few years, did some construction work and house flipping, back in and out of tattooing. And then what really made me be an actor? I guess something to do. I was kind of bored, and I wanted to do something that was mine. And I had been so used to doing all these things for other people and living their life versus wanting to do something that I wanted to do. And so I took an acting class in Orlando. I was living in Daytona Beach at the time. And I think I only took 3 out of the 12 classes that I paid for because it just didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Every time I ask questions, like I've done some journalist stuff in the past too. It went around along with a lot of the radio. And so ask really good questions when I'm trying to figure something out, like really good questions to wrap my head around something. And all this fucking guy could tell me was that the answers are written in the stars and it's just so magical. And I'm like, what the fuck are you smoking? I would like some too, but not on my work day, you know, like, come on, dude. Like, I paid $800 for this class and you can't answer simple questions. It made me feel like he was more or less just fucking with everybody in the class mentally and then sitting back and giggling about it.
Yeah.
So it kind of pissed me off. But one of the guys in my class, he was in night school for filmmaking. And he's like, hey, my instructor is really, really cool. He's looking for an actress for a project he's working on. So we went back and forth in email, and I asked a lot of really good questions about his script. And he's like, you're hired. And then he hired me for a 3-part series and then a feature. So like right out of the gate, that's what I did.
That's awesome though. What a way to get into it versus, you know, you have these people that chase their dreams and they go all over the damn country, maybe even the world, to try to chase after something, but they don't really have a clear head on to ask the right questions, like you were saying. Because I do a couple of friends of mine are do a little bit of acting, and we had talked about that before, you and I. But you know, even they've made the comments that some of the so-called experts that are teaching these classes, they're not really, they don't seem to be teaching. So it's frustrating for them as well, because where we're at, it's a pretty small, tight community. And and some of the people that are teaching the classes have already established a little hierarchy system in the town, you know. And so everybody's like, oh, you really need to go through them and all that good garbage. So
oh yeah, it's super cliquey. I mean, it's the same here in Atlanta, and I don't play that game. I'm not saying that all the acting teachers like that are here. There's a very small group that like genuinely really want to see you succeed. And there's a good portion of them that they tell you they want to see you succeed, but they don't want you to be more successful than they are. And there's always another reason to take another one of their classes. Like, you're just never going to be good enough. And I mean, my best advice is just keep doing your auditions. I audition a lot, and every time I audition, I learn something new, like whether it's the sides that I get or the different type of role. I audition for a lot of tough guy gal type of things. I'm really good at yelling at people. Apparently, I'm one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life, but they just really like to see me freak out and yell at people. I have a really good like a tone. Every scene has a heartbeat, so you got to bring it up and bring it down, bring it up and bring it down. You can't just do a whole paragraph of straight yelling at someone. It doesn't make it interesting.
Right.
So
make it real
my
either.
best advice for people is, yeah, it doesn't make it real either. You got to build up that drama and you got to bring it back down and then build it up again and then poof, you got it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, read novels. That's what I tell people too. Don't just read Facebook posts. Like, that's not reading. That doesn't count. Read novels, understand characters. That's the only way you're going to do it. Know what good writing is and what bad writing is. Because when I'm on this different types of sets, I learn good things to do and good takeaways. And I also have some takeaways of what not to do.
And you know, what's funny is to kind of go along with that. I have one of my friends that's he's like me. We love movies and stuff like that. And as far as acting goes, he really likes the movie end of acting versus theater or anything like that. And he's amazed at how many people that are in acting that want to be actors or even teaching acting don't know great movies. Like, he'll mention a movie to somebody that's that everybody's like, this is a great movie, and they just look at them blank like they've never heard of it. And I'm not even talking about obscure movies. I'm talking about mainstream movies that are good. They're like, yeah, we don't know. It's like, how do you not study your art? You know what I'm saying? How do you don't want to be a copycat, but how do you not at least, if it's like being a guitar player, but you don't listen to other people play guitar. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make much sense.
No, I hear you on that. I don't know shit about Shakespeare, but then again, I'm not a theater person.
Right.
I appreciate theater, good theater. I've also seen a lot of bad theater.
Yes, I've seen bad theater.
But I've seen a lot of bad theater. But I mean, I guess it just depends on what type of actor you are. You know, a lot of people that are commercial actors. I'm not saying all. You always have to say that these days because people think you're singling them out or something.
Yeah.
Well,
that's because people are sensitive.
Yeah, super sensitive. And that's another big thing. Like, quit being a fucking pussy. That's my biggest takeaway in acting. Quit being a fucking pussy. Stop being worried about what other people think about you. And I think that's another reason why I'm fairly successful at being an actor, because I seriously don't give a shit. Whether you like me or not, I don't care. We don't have to be friends. We actually don't even have to like each other to work together.
Right.
Because I do good work. If you do good work and you're kind of an asshole, just don't be an asshole to me. But I'm also paying attention to how people are treating other people on set. I think that you should treat everybody with respect. I don't care if you're the PA that's getting me a fucking water. I'm going to say thank you, and I'm going to nice shoes, or how, hey, I'm not one of those actors, you know.
I was on a set. I did some background work with a friend of mine on a set, and it was funny to watch because they had had an actress flown in from LA, and she was very much, I don't know if she was like that or she was just scared to talk to anybody, but by the end of it, she'd kind of loosened up. But at the beginning, man, she was frozen and focused. I mean, she wouldn't talk to anybody. So I thought that was kind of wild.
Yeah, that's a thing. Depending on like the different types of sets I'm at, like when it's the bigger SAGs, I'm not gonna lie, you kind of want to shit your pants. I don't care how many times you've done it, how many times you've been on that set. Like if I have a whole lot of lines, I really can't talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll say hi, but then I kind of have to have my own space because I'm just trying to get through, some of the tougher scenes, especially if it's something where I have to cry or like be really emotional at. I kind of hide. Having my dude on set definitely helps my like set jitters and stuff like that. But the indie sets, I'm a lot more relaxed just because I've worked with a lot of these people before on other things, or we've had so many meetings before for pre-production that we're kind of like fam anyways.
Yeah. What do you think, what roles do you like to go for the most? If you were going to say that, I don't want to say typecast, but if you were looking through a list of options, what do you like to gear yourself towards?
I like to talk shit and beat some ass. I'm not gonna lie. It's awesome. But the thing is, they don't write a whole lot of roles for people like me that can do that. And I feel like it's because a lot of people have misrepresented their skill level and what they can achieve, and what type of because fighting somebody on camera is different than fighting someone in person, clearly. But you can't take one class, call yourself an expert, and be like, yeah, I can punch somebody. I've like coordinated a lot of different fights over the past, year and a half, almost 2 years now. And my first question is, do they have any basic skills? And whatever your skill level is, I can figure out something that's going to work for you, that's not going to make you look like an idiot, that'll kind of like, be cool, unless the goal of your scene is that this guy doesn't know how to fight or this chick doesn't know how to fight. Right. Then being skillless totally works for you.
Yeah.
But
I mean, makes it worse if you have to unlearn them. So it's like, all right, look, you can't.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm actually kind of good at that. Like, I'm actually kind of good at it. They're like, oh, we want you to look like you don't know what you're doing. And I thought it was going to be a little harder to kind of do stuff like that. But I think since I see a lot of bad moves, I mean, I always joke with people. I'm like, dude, I'm not a fucking magician. I'm coordinating a fight. Like, you've got to have some basic skills. And they pound it into people's actors' heads that, oh, you got to continue training. And I think that's definitely true. Like, currently, I'm not enrolled in any acting classes right now, but I'm auditioning all the time those are kind of like my little mini acting classes.
Yeah.
And, the same thing. Yeah, the same thing with fight training. Like, I train 3 times a day, 5 days a week, and I got a big role coming up in Miami at the end of next month. I've been working on this back and forth with the director for about 2 years. His name is Barry Gaines. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Barry.
Hi, Barry. Penny's like, who? Where is he? Where's Barry? Super awesome. It's a husband and wife team, and they're working on a series called A World of Worlds. A World of Worlds. Yes, sorry. And it's kind of like what is it called? It's like a sci-fi series. Really good writing. There's not a whole lot I can say about it, but I have a nude scene in it and a fight scene. So, been getting ready for that. Gotta look good naked, gotta look good fighting. It's a balance.
Well, that's a good question I wasn't thinking about. Is that an awkward conversation that not just you but other girls that maybe is when the nude scenes show up? How do they typically approach you on that? Are they just blunt about it, or are they kind of?
Well, yeah, I mean, because it depends. You be like, hey, we've got this. We want to see your boobies in this scene. It's like, delete, creepo. It's just, hey, we'd like you to audition for this part. They send you a breakdown and it says this role requires nudity. Okay, we can have a conversation about that. Does the paycheck reflect that? And 2, how are we shooting this? Because I think I have more of an opinion like with other actresses about it versus directors, because any director I've worked with has been really, really professional about, how to approach, well, except one. And this motherfucker owes me a lot of money. So whatever. But that was when I first started acting. So it really taught me a lot moving forward on how to handle certain situations and how the conversation should go. But yeah, I've noticed that I don't care if another actress does or does not do nude scenes. Like, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. But don't look down on me because I don't have the same views on nudity. Right. Like, I'm not ashamed of my body. I grew up in a very shameful house, and I'm sick of that shit. Like, I'm going to do what I want. I know how I'm being represented. My husband supports me. Fuck off.
Yeah, that's and that's the main thing is having the support, having the support from somebody that you can bounce that off of and know, whether it's a good decision or not.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he knows that I know how to handle a conversation. He likes to be there for sure when he's doing it. I did get him a role in Barry's movie that we're filming down in Miami. He's my what is my manslave, manslave poolside servant. Yes, so he gets a role.
And you get a fantasy. Yeah.
And I get like, give me grapes, send me that palm frond. So we have fun with it. Yeah, it's something we could joke about, and it's the whole thing that I don't think nudity is a big deal. Yeah. I really don't. And if I had somebody say to me, they're like, oh, I don't do nude scenes. I would like to have my dignity by the end of the day. And I was like, fuck you, bitch. I was like, you think I don't have fucking dignity? I'm like, I have a lot of dignity and a lot of pride.
Well, I mean,
just because it's something that you don't do doesn't mean.
Yeah, you almost wonder if that's almost a self-conscious thing versus a dignity thing.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And, there's a lot of things that, I don't care who you are, what you do, as long as you're not hurting anybody, go ahead. It might not be my cup of tea. I might not join you in it. I might not do that myself, but I'm not going to judge you for it. Yeah. I don't care. Like, do you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's wild though. But what all? I mean, we were talking about 21 principal roles in 2019. That's a lot. That's pretty impressive.
That is a lot. Yeah, I did. Shit. I tried to count up my auditions, and I did like over 150 through Actors Access, but that doesn't even count all the ones that I got through my email too.
Oh, wow.
So I auditioned like crazy last year. I booked like crazy. Some of the things I haven't filmed yet, but I did book them. So we're just waiting on, because sometimes things take a little bit longer. Everybody's got their thing.
Yeah.
Some people have their crowdfunding that they have to do. Other people get booked on other projects. And, so it's just balancing of everybody's schedules. But the biggest thing I did last year was a SAG feature that was a decent sized franchise. Like I can't say a lot about it, and that fucking sucks. I can be vague. I do know the movie is finished editing, which is amazing because we shot that back in September. Yeah, we shot that back in September, and it's finally edited now, which is crazy. But they're looking to put it in some theaters and then on the basic channel, the streaming stuff. So.
Well, you have to make sure you message me that name when it comes out, when you know that it's coming out, so I can watch it.
Oh, I will for sure. I'm in the final scene, and I got a lot of lines in it. And it's funny when you're acting opposite of somebody who's followed around by the paparazzi like crazy, and they are so cool and so nice and so down to earth. And then you meet other actors who've, done some little recreation thing, or, you know what I mean? Just something that, yeah, it's kind of cool. You book something, that's great. I'm not like degrading that, but they get this whole, yeah. Wow, to me, I booked a role this year. It's like, well, congratulations. I hope you book another one with that fucking attitude.
Well, we have a couple of local ones that I don't know personally, but I've heard about and talked to, and they seem to be that way. And it's like, I've seen some of their stuff and they're good, but not as good as maybe they think they are. And so,
I was going to say that is my favorite thing to say is maybe you're not as good as you think you are, like you're decent, but not enough to have that kind of attitude. I don't really care where my career goes. I'm always going to be me. I'm never going to be a dick to anybody. I'm never going to not talk to somebody, pretend to be this person that I'm not. I think that's an issue with some people. I think it goes along with some acting classes that some teachers try to tell you, oh, actors act like this. You have to fit in this box, and it's only this big. And I just don't agree with that. My first acting teacher told me that I would never book anything ever. And he looked down at me like up and down and like sneered at me and said I would never book anything. I'm the first person that booked out of that class. And I didn't even finish it. Yeah. And I've been booking ever since. So awesome. Fuck off.
I would send him Christmas cards.
I don't even know his name anymore.
Oh, I'd send him Christmas cards all the time. But then he would take credit
right with all my bookings.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. She was at my class.
Yes, I trained her because of me. Next thing you know, you're on his ads for his, for his classes and stuff. But
oh yeah, I'll get that shit ripped down really quick. My name is a registered trademark. Thank you very much.
What I have a couple of you had mentioned one thing that you regretted declining so many auditions in the beginning. Is that because?
Well, yeah, because I wasn't really sure what was going on. Because the whole self-tape audition thing, you're not talking to anybody there. You've got a reader in the room. Sometimes you pay for coaching. I have an excellent audition coach, by the way. Shout out Stephen Bagheera. I couldn't be here without you, dude. For real. Like, I appreciate that guy so much. We've become really good friends over the past about 2 years now that we've been working together. But back to your question, when I was first doing the self-tapes, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. They have you read read sides. There's nobody there. You've either got to pretend somebody's there or you have a reader. And a lot of you can tell if somebody doesn't give a shit about your audition. So I bounced around to a lot of different studios, and there was a lot of really reputable places that I went to when I first came here to Atlanta. And they would take my sides, they would look at them and go, "Who's your agent? and like say it like real snotty, and then just try to bust through my audition really fast. And then I realized as time went on, I was getting like really, really good auditions, and they were jealous because they wish they could have had those auditions. So it's like, well, we could have been friends, we could have been friends, and maybe I could have got you an audition. I don't fucking know. Like I said, I'm just not a dick.
Do you think like so some of the people that work for getting some of the auditions and stuff also act, so they kind of, do you feel like there's some competition in there where they don't want to?
Yeah, they're pretty much all actors, and I mean, I don't really feel there should be a competition because not to be earthy or anything, but everybody is unique and individual. And if you are bringing your individuality to the table, there is no other competition.
Right.
Because there's only you. And I auditioned for roles that some of my friends have auditioned for, my actual friends that I've made, and they've gotten the part. Good for you. Congratulations. Yeah. I'm happy for you. I'm really not the person they were looking for, because if they wanted Constance Payne, they would have booked Constance Payne.
There you
go.
So,
yeah, I mean, you just can't get butthurt about these things. Casting can only do so much. I mean, everything's super secretive. So you don't really know what casting wants. They send things out and they've got these wild card things, but every casting director I've ever met in person has always been really, really nice.
But they send out vague stuff, so that kind of holds the project close to heart. People can't steal.
Yeah, they have to do that. There's a lot of NDAs that have to be signed, and even when you sign the NDAs, they still don't give you a whole lot of information, because at that point, well, yeah, and you got this audition ticket like 1,000 other actors, so it's not even relevant for them to answer certain types of questions unless you did get the role. Exactly. So you just kind of just do your audition, send them in, and hope for the best. That's about it.
What's the craziest audition you ever had? Like where you looked at it and like, what the fuck am I doing? You got to have one of those.
Okay, I got to separate that in a couple categories. I would say the funnest audition I did was last year. I can't say which casting company that I did it for, but they were looking for a drag king, and I didn't know what that was, so I had to Google it. But it's when a female dresses up like a dude instead of a guy. Yeah, instead of a man dressing up. The opposite. I didn't know that was a thing. So I painted on my mustache and I put on my cowboy outfit and I shoved a banana in my pants. I did. And when I slated, they wanted a full body slate. So when I slated, I was like, my name is Constance Payne. I'm 5'3". And then I put my hand on my banana wiener in my pants. I was like, don't be jealous. Because I mean, that shit was, that was a big banana. It was a big banana.
Well, if you're going to represent. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I'd be jealous. Shit.
Yeah, you got to. If you're going that far, you got to go all in.
Yeah, you're supposed to have fun with that, especially. I mean, unless it's drama. I think there's a lot of people that are real funny fuckers or think they're funny fuckers around here, and everything's a big joke, which is great when you're doing comedy, but I'm more of a drama actor. I was actually having a discussion. I booked a comedy pilot last month, and I kind of felt out of place at the table read because I'm just a different type of funny person. I'm more sarcastic, matter of fact. I asked my audition coach, I was like, so what type of funny do you think I am?
You're
without hesitation. Yeah, without hesitation. Steven goes, aggressive. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll take that.
You're more Pulp Fiction funny. Yeah,
very Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, greatest movie ever made, probably. In my opinion.
Fuck yeah. That would be a dream to work for Quentin Tarantino. Rob Zombie. I'm all about some horror shit talking. Fuck
Rob
yeah.
does good.
His wife is beautiful.
Yeah. God, he does some wild movies, man. He does great stuff. But you never know.
Yeah,
This
we
time
just
next
watched
year.
31 again. Not that long ago.
You never
You
know.
never know. You
This
never
time
know.
next year. Then I'm gonna say, I remember when I had her on the show. Look at her now.
And then I'll come back on and I'll tell you
Oh,
more.
I would be wearing your messenger out. You'd be like, who? Click who?
Nah, I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, I mean, I've had a lot of crazy stalkers and shit since before I became an actor. So I'm kind of, I mean, glad for that in a way, because it prepared me for where things are, just to be a little more aware and a little more conscious of the signs of a fucking weirdo, or like
Right.
watching my back and stuff. I can't even pump my own gas or go to the grocery store by myself. And it's not because people recognize me from this or that or anything like that. It's just people being weirdos.
Yeah. Do you
So
feel like
it's,
you have
you
you
know, and
draw
it
that
sucks.
energy? Do you feel like you draw that energy from people or
I
something?
try not to. I only try to do that when I'm acting, when I'm in, you know, in a scene or something. But I do everything I can to avoid eye contact with people and just mind my own fucking business. Just trying to get a can of corn here.
Yeah.
Make my
Well,
man some dinner.
I've actually talked to a few people, and it's like me. I've been in combat sports all my life. I've done just about everything, and even to this date. And I remember in my 20s, I could walk in a room, in a bar, a party, or whatever. Somebody would want to fight me, and I'd be like, I'm just trying to get a drink. It's just some people have that weird magnetism. Finally, I've shaken that aura, I guess, but maybe I look older and they don't want to fuck with me. But but for a while, and I know some girls that it's like no matter where they go, they have that creepo that is just drawn to them, and they're just.
Drawn.
It's like
Yeah,
Jesus Christ! I just walked in here to get a taco.
yeah, I just want to mind my own business, so that
Yeah.
would be great. But the same thing with us, with like, we don't really go out. Like, if we go out, seeing us in a bar is like a unicorn sighting for real. We only go out for particular reasons, like if we're meeting somebody, if we're helping to sponsor an event or participate in an event that happens to be at a bar. Other than that, we don't really go anywhere because people always want to, for whatever reason. You saw my husband. He's
Yeah.
fucking huge.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea, to fuck with him, because now you fucked with the both of us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tag team, baby.
Yeah, it's tag team.
Maybe I should get into wrestling.
People always say that. I've been pitching a little. I actually have two different projects I've been pitching that have to do with wrestling. One's a comedy, and one's more like a biker show type of thing. So maybe I can't say too much about those things, but
Well, if you ever
you
decide to
could
get
see
into
that in the future.
if you ever decide to get into wrestling, let me know. One of a good friend of ours, Mad Dog Dan Sawyer's been in wrestling all his life. He's been on the show. I'll glad to hook y'all up. He has a wrestling school and everything. He knows everybody in the wrestling world.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because it'd probably be fun just to go to a couple, like a weekend class or something, and do our wrestling personas
He's got a
and see
school right
Matthew
down.
in some man panties.
Yeah.
Oh, right down where you're at. That's cool.
Yeah, he's got a school, and if you ever decide you want to work on something for your any role or whatever like that, I'd be glad to hook y'all up, man. And like I said, he runs a wrestling organization, a lower level one, and he does stuff with the high wrestling organizations, and he'd be great to put you on if y'all ever ended up in a situation you needed somebody to give you the inside scoops on what they do.
I will make a note of that, because it sounds like a good time.
And we want to see your husband in man panties. So. And have you throw him. Just.
Oh, shit. We talked about that. I was like, man, if you have, like, I can't lift it. Like, I mean, that's 220 pounds of solid muscle. Like, if he fell over, I wouldn't be able to pick him up. If he passed out somewhere, I just have to camp out next to his body and wait for him to wake up, because I ain't moving him.
Yeah, it's like start wake up. That's pretty awesome though. I mean, it sounds like you're doing a lot, I mean, and I got one more, and you may not even want to discuss this, but this is kind of funny to me. And are you willing to talk about where you're living right now?
Oh yeah, we we live in a retirement community, and actually, what's really funny is our favorite quote unquote park parents. They just moved back. They're back in town because Bill had surgery. He had a tumor, and it was connected to a nerve. So Bill and Susan are back. Our
How?
favorite neighbors who might come.
How?
Oh, I was just saying, what if well, this is funny. This isn't my first rodeo. We like peace and quiet for real. But we seriously watch Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, The Murder Channel. I mean, we watch The Bachelorette is probably like the thing that keeps us young. But other than that, we're pretty old people. We just go work all day and then we come home.
But you're
And
so
so we like
young.
peace and quiet. Yeah, we're so young that we're like old inside. And so I called ahead to this place. I'm not going to say which one, obviously.
Yeah.
But I called ahead and I paid our rent 6 months in advance. And I used my old lady voice. She's an old British lady. I have to practice her, but before I'm gonna, before I have a long conversation with somebody. But so apparently my old lady voice is British, and I kind of fluctuated a little bit, and I talked to this nice old lady on the phone and took my card, took my money, and then we came, and she was like, but didn't say anything because they weren't going to give us our money back. Like, nobody's going to do that.
Yeah,
like,
not 6 months worth.
Not 6 months. If I only paid a month, they'd been like, all right, you guys gotta go. And then they kept looking at us cross for like month 2, and then month 3 everybody started to chill out, and now they ask us. I mean, we're like their best friends. Like, everybody's always like, oh, what you guys doing, what's going on? Because they just thought we were party people. We're both heavily tattooed, we both are really young, so it's.
But now they
Sorry, people.
But now they probably almost like, well, it's nice to have some younger people in local, in the area, just so in case they need something too.
Oh yeah, we've helped them out with a lot of stuff. One of Matthew's friends, his name is Eagle Eye, because he watches the park. He's that old man, like that one old neighbor that everybody has that nobody likes. Well, he likes us, so this is good.
That's good.
And so everybody calls him Eagle Eye. His real name's Dennis. But Dennis, we stopped seeing him for about a week, and it turns out he fell in his home and broke his hip.
Oh no!
And he left his life alert in his bedroom, and so he was stranded there, and he was screaming and yelling, like he almost died in there.
Holy
and then he was telling us this story. Yeah, it was crazy. It was so sad. We were both freaked out. And he said he was pulling himself and crawled and was trying to like rip apart his drywall to make a hole so he could yell louder.
Wow.
And luckily Meals for Wheels was coming to drop off his food, and they heard him yelling. They called an ambulance, and then he was in a rehab facility for like a month and a half. So we went and visited him, brought him flowers and candy. Wow. The only thing I don't like about him is that he insists on showing me his diabetic removed toe. And like, it's so gross.
I thought you were going to say something else. I was like,
no. Well, I draw the line when he starts talking about his prostate. He only started talking about that once, and I was like, no. But the toe, I mean, he's ew. It was like all rotted off and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, y'all,
and like, why are
y'all are almost like a Seinfeld episode. Remember when Kramer went down and ended up moving in with his buddy's parents at a retirement community?
Oh yeah.
He was like, this is
they
great.
Crack me up.
Yeah.
I got everything I need, Yeah. It's always warm in here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun here. The old ladies, they always take their walks around here, especially when training women out in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll do some boxing and some wrestling or whatever, and they're just like, oh wow, it's just so nice to see young women so liberated these days. They didn't allow us to do that when we was kids. So it's cool to have that type of support, from the older community.
Yeah, that's awesome though. God,
so it's like having 100 sets of grandparents.
Oh, I'm sure they bring you food or try to, right? They come over there trying to slip you baked goods.
They do, and we just don't eat a whole lot of sweets. Old people love candy. They do.
They're on the downhill slide. They don't.
Yeah, and I think it's more about like that's their way to show love and how they care, which is very much appreciated. So we'll take it. We'll make sure it goes to good use. Like, Matt will take stuff to work, or
Well, he's a professional barber. He's like a master barber. Is that right?
A master barber.
Yeah. I wanted to say master. I
call him the skull crafter.
The skull crafter. That's awesome. Yeah, he does those old school haircuts. I like them. I don't have enough hair to do old school haircuts.
Well, he does something for everybody that, like when people think that their hair can't look as good as this or that, some people want a haircut their just hair isn't made for. But if you just let him do what he does, that's why I call him the skull crafter, because he, checks out the lines in your head and how your head's shaped, and he just does his thing. And he's one of the most booked up barbers over at American Haircuts too. Like his schedule's booked out every day.
That's
and
awesome.
He hasn't been there that long. So, and people like him. I mean, like gay or straight, I'd want to get my hair cut by a big sexy guy who knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah. Well, you had your head shaved for a while, didn't you?
No.
Did it look like it?
That was a bald cap I put on.
That is awesome. I looked at him, like, but see, my wife had her hair shaved for a while and she looked great. And she was like, I'm shaving my head. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And she shaved it. She looked great. And then
I have a lumpy head. I do. The only reason it was so smooth in that pic was because it was a bald cap.
Okay.
But I have a very lumpy, ugly head. I would not look good bald. It works for some women that have a beautiful, nice shaped dome.
Yeah, I wish my
not
head
me,
was as
though.
smooth as hers. I wish I'm kind of lumpy as well. But that's just because I've been hitting the head a lot, I think. So
it happens.
It happens.
It happens. I can't drive at night. I've been hitting the head so much.
That's awesome. Well, Constance, I'm not going to keep you. I know we've done a nice hour, and I always like to leave it.
Oh shit! Has it been an hour?
Oh yeah. I'm an easy talk to. What can I say? Well, at least pretty close. Anyway, I know we're at least over 45 minutes, but if you hang on line with me just for a second, I'm gonna do our music out and end this recording. I want everybody to make sure that they go and start following you on all your social medias, so they can keep up with anything that you're willing to post out that's coming out that you've done or possibly will do, and hopefully one day we'll see you on some nice super high budget projects.
Well, it might be sooner rather than later, but I will keep everybody posted when I can.
There you go. That sounds like a good teaser to me. That's awesome. All right, everybody, make sure that you check out Constance Payne, actress, fighter, and everything. So keep an eye out on all the good stuff that she's doing, and we will talk to you later. Oh.
Penny, come here. Come here.